Unfortunately, we have seen a lot of unhealthy and downright dangerous trends in young people over the years.
Yeah, trends like the choking game, abusing cough syrup, overindulging in energy drinks, huffing spray paint, even consuming alcohol through the eyes to conceal the smell. The latest, the abuse of powdered caffeine.
In fact, it's proven deadly. According to the FDA, powdered caffeine products are essentially 100% caffeine. One single teaspoon of pure caffeine is equivalent to 25 cups of coffee. The FDA warns how dangerous these products can be and, unfortunately, alluring to young people.
Just 2 months ago, we told you about 18-year-old Logan Steiner. Logan tried powdered caffeine for the first time and lost his life. Now his parents are looking to the FDA for answers, not only for their own peace of mind, but so that something like this never happens to another young person.
Powdered caffeine is causing an uproar among parents and officials. But what about a new powdered product? Powdered alcohol. A powder form of alcohol was legalized by the federal government earlier this month. And get this, could be in stores near you as early as this summer. It's called Palcohol, and according to the company's website, it's a powder that can be mixed with water to create an alcoholic drink.
I think it's just extremely dangerous. We have enough ways that kids are getting themselves in trouble with drugs and alcohol, and they don't need one more avenue of getting themselves into trouble.
2 weeks ago, the Alcohol, Tobacco and Tax and Trade Bureau gave the makers of Palcohol the go-ahead to sell it in the U.S.
We believe that it could lead to some overdoses of alcohol. When you're mixing a powder, it's not something you're familiar with on how much to use, and there's just a lot of dangers there.
Some states are already making moves to ban the sale of powdered alcohol.
We're concerned, most off for the young people that may somehow get their hands on it and use it.
24-year-old Patrick Melton said he'd try it.
I'll give it a shot. Powdered martini, powdered gin and tonic. Sounds fun.
But even people who sell liquor expressed their concerns.
Minors more than anything, and it really would need to be regulated.
I know that my kids are really good at steering clear of those things, but they have friends that are abusing these things.
I mean, if kids are going to get drunk, then they're going to get drunk. You can't really stop kids from being degenerates. They're just going to do it.
Now, a lot of people are against Palcohol becoming available in stores, so we wanted to see things from their side. According to the Palcohol website, the company urges that we should not be concerned about someone snorting the product. They say, quote, "Listen, people can snort black pepper, so do we ban it? No. Just because a few goofballs use a product irresponsibly doesn't mean you ban it." Also, they claim that not only would snorting the product be very painful, but also impractical. They say it would take about 60 minutes to snort the equivalent of one shot of vodka.
That's a surprising company statement. But anyway, it is no secret these things are out there. So how do we better protect ourselves? Well, the proper education. And while both sides have had their say, where do the medical experts stand when it comes to our health? Joining us today to tell us how these products may affect the body is Dr. Anjan Nan with the University of Maryland Eastern Shore School of Pharmacy. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Start off by explaining exactly why these products are so dangerous.
So let's take the example of powdered caffeine, for instance. It's 100% caffeine, it's pure. So simply 1 to 2 teaspoons of this product can be lethal. And in fact, the side effects and the harmful effects of powdered caffeine could be irregular heartbeats, and you can have high blood pressure, you can get seizures, and these could be lethal as well. So really, for instance, with powdered caffeine, the recommended dose is only about a 25th of a teaspoon. So you can imagine you can easily take 1 teaspoon or more, and that could give you side effects.
Wow.
With the products like powdered alcohol, for instance, the concept is the same. So these are powdered forms, so you really, if you take too much of it, it's the equivalent of consuming a lot of alcohol, and you could get alcohol poisoning.
Okay, it's just as simple as using it in a safe manner. There's a safe way to use these things, right?
Unfortunately, I would say the frank answer would be no, because you can imagine if for powdered caffeine, for instance, if the recommended dose is a 25th of a teaspoon,
Right.
with all the commonly available kitchen measuring tools that we have, like our kitchen balance, how would you possibly measure a 25th of a teaspoon? So it's really difficult to accurately measure that, and it's so easy to take more than what you need, and then you would have all these bad effects that could happen.
And unfortunately, people, when they're trying to get drugs in their body, they'll find different ways to get it there faster, like snorting, for example. I imagine this would be really bad if they tried to snort it.
Well, let me tell you about snorting. So when you're snorting, you're basically inhaling these powder through the nose, and the nose has direct access to our blood vessels, and as a result, if you snort something, it gets absorbed very quickly into the blood, and as a result, you can quickly get the onset of action, which could mean that if you take too much of it, you could easily see side effects to these things. Also, a part of the nose has direct contact with our brain. So you can imagine with substances of abuse and anything that can cause addiction, if you absorb that into the bloodstream and a part of it goes to the brain, you can easily get effects into the brain. And that's really where the concern would be.
Oh my goodness. And when you're doing something like this, it can also, not just the brain, it can affect other organs too.
It can affect your liver. Liver is the main site where most of these drugs will get metabolized. Now, one of the things is by absorbing it through the nose, it bypasses the liver in the first shot. So a lot of these drugs which go into your bloodstream but do not necessarily go directly into the liver, which means now this drug is not getting destroyed, so it's staying in the body longer, and as a result, you can get more severe effects. But down the road, if you take too much of it, obviously the liver will be burdened, and as a result, you can start seeing all sorts of liver toxicity as well.
And you could probably, addiction would happen a lot quicker.
Absolutely, the addiction thing comes with it. You know, as I said, access to the brain is a direct pathway, so you can get stuff into the brain, and that could be potentially harmful for substances that cause addiction.
So some people are expressing a concern that in a powdered form, it can more easily be mixed with other things, and that could really go bad.
Well, it's true, and it's not just for the powdered caffeine or powdered alcohol products that we're talking about. It could be virtually for any substances that can be abused or that can cause addiction, because when you mix, let's say, two drugs together or two things together, oftentimes it can happen as that these drugs eventually in the mixture can become a lot more potent than the drug would otherwise be on its own.
Okay.
So if you take the same exact dose but now mix it with something else, you're potentially increasing the effect of the drug, and sometimes these effects can be harmful.
Dr. Nan, I have to ask you, do you think the FDA should step in when it comes to these powdered substances?
Well, it's interesting. You have to understand the role of the FDA here. What the FDA really looks for under the current statutory guidelines is that the FDA looks for if any of the active ingredients in these products, like the caffeine or the alcohol, it has been chemically altered in any way. And unfortunately, with these products, these are pure caffeine or pure alcohol, so they have not been chemically altered. So the FDA cannot simply say that we'll ban these products and prevent it from reaching to the consumers. It's really an onus that falls on the company itself. So these companies really should advise their consumers. They should put out clearly all the labels and the safety concerns, and really tell people and educate the public about the risks of using it more than what's intended to.
So if it's not a federal thing, is it something states can step into?
So most of the states will have mandatory authority over how they regulate these products. I know a lot of states have already banned products like powdered alcohol, and there will be probably more states to follow. But in the end, I think the onus is really on these companies on how they educate the consumers. Also, we as adults and responsible adults, and also as parents, you know, we should really keep a tab on how much we take in, and really ensure and try to make sure that these things do not get to our children when they shouldn't be using them.
What they're ordering on the internet.
Absolutely. The internet is a big place where you can easily order these products, even if there are warning signs. Like the FDA has issued warnings about telling people not to buy these products, but then it's so difficult to control them over the internet.
All right, Dr. Nan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you would like to learn more about powdered caffeine and potential side effects, visit our website at wboz.com. Click on our picture at the top of the page.
It's amazing how much of a threat that is.
I know. Wow.
Well, another thing that can be very dangerous, and unfortunately it's very common, melanoma. Up next, we're going to learn about an app that may help protect you from the most dangerous form of skin cancer that's out there.
Plus, what other skin issues are you suffering from? Acne? Early signs of aging? Well, next we find out why it's not what's going on your face that matters, but rather in your mouth.
And what about what's going on in your nose? A little later on, we're going to learn all about our sense of smell, some of the sense's medical benefits, and just how much the nose knows. DelmarvaLife. We'll be right back.